All right, everybody, welcome to this next video here. What we're going to be talking about here is financial planning context. In other words, what is financial planning? If we're going to be talking about this throughout the course, it's important that we have a good understanding of what it is, because a lot of times with something like financial planning, we all have these preconceived ideas of what financial planning is and what the outcome of financial planning actually should be. And the reason that is because we all have a little bit different relationship with money. So when it comes to planning for our money and making decisions about our money, we all have different ideas of where this needs to go and what the outcome needs to be. So I want to take the beginning of this course, or this first module really is about being able to develop some sort of frame of reference for what financial planning is and what some of the basics of financial planning are, so that we're all on the same page, and as we move forward in the course, we have a better understanding, or we have a better ability to learn how to make decisions with our money. Because remember, ultimately this course is about teaching you to make decisions with our money, and I can't teach you to make decisions about our money if we're all over the place in our understanding of what financial planning is. So I want to start at the beginning, and we want to talk about this. But to be able to talk about it and what financial planning is, the first place we have to do is we have to go a little bit layer deeper and say, what is money? Because ultimately, financial planning is about planning our finances and making decisions with our money. So to be able to make decisions about our money, we have to know, what is money? What is it? Why do we have it? Now, the easy answer is that money is a medium of exchange. It's something that we exchange. You know, you have a can of beans, I have $1, I want the beans, you want the dollar, I give you $1, you give me the can of beans. That's how it works, okay? It's a medium of exchange. But why is it that I will give you a $1 bill for that can of beans, but I won't give you a $100 bill for that can of beans? Well, the reason is because the can of beans is not worth $100. It's worth something closer to $1, okay? So the value of the can of beans from a monetary sense is not $100, it's $1, okay? So the deeper answer here to what is money is this. Money is a representation of value, okay? A $1 bill represents $1 of value. A $100 bill represents $100 of value. So money is this representation of value, okay? That's what it is. Now, why is that important to understand? Or why is that important to learn? The reason that's important to learn is because value is only value if it is really has a purpose or is doing something for you. For instance, if I gave you the Mona Lisa, okay, let's say I owned the Mona Lisa and I gave it to you. I think we could all agree that the Mona Lisa, the painting, is a very high valuable, it's an item that has high value, okay? It's recognized worldwide. It is a very popular painting, and it has a high value. So if I just gave it to you, what would you do with it? Would you go and just tuck it away in a closet, throw a blanket over it, and say, yeah, that's a nice painting, but I don't like it. I'm not going to put it up in my house. You know, is that what you would do? And if it is, what is the value to you of that item? Well, the value to you is nothing. The value to the world might be a lot, but the value to you is nothing. It has no benefit to you because it's not doing anything for you. Okay, so if you take that Mona Lisa, you just tuck it away in the closet, again, it may be valuable to the world, but if it's not doing anything for you, then it's not valuable to you. Okay? So it needs to be valuable to you. So what could you do with it if you wanted it to become valuable to you? Well, if you wanted it to be valuable to you, you might sell it and say, well, I don't know what else to do with it, so I'm just going to sell it and get whatever monetary value I can. And that's cool. You'd be, you'd have, I don't know what it's worth, but you'd have a lot of money, I'm sure, if you were to sell it. The next thing you could do is you could turn it into a cash flow by displaying it and charging admission, okay, for people to come and see it because it's valuable to the world over, okay? So people would want to come see it. So you would have that ability to, okay, just like a museum does. But the idea is that the value is value when it's doing something for you, okay? It's like the old saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's because one item might be trash to you, or it has no value to you, but someone else that knows how to make that and turn that into value, it can be valuable for that person because they know how to turn that into value, okay? So value is something that has a purpose and it is doing something for you. Again, Mona Lisa sitting in a closet collecting dust has no value to you because it's not doing anything. So value needs to be doing something. Okay, so why are we saying this? Why are we hitting this point? Because once again, we're talking about financial planning context, but to understand financial planning context, we need to go deeper and say, what is money? Money is this representation of value. Well, money to be doing something or value to be doing something needs to be doing something for you. It needs to have a purpose, okay? It needs to have a purpose, a function, a reason for being where it is, okay? So again, we're gonna be talking about what is financial planning, which is what decisions are we going to do with our money? But we have to come into it with this basic understanding first that money is this representation of value, and where we put money is somewhere that it should be doing something for us, okay? So we need to put our money in places that it's going to do something for us, okay? Because money is representation of value. All right, so what this brings to rise is this idea that money is a tool, okay? Money is not a goal. A lot of people think money is a goal, and they treat money as a goal, as if like I just want to be rich, right? I just want to have a whole lot of money is kind of the mentality of it is. And people want it. We want money in the same way that a child wants a new shiny toy, right? It's not motivated by logic or reason. It's just shiny. It's there. A kid wants it, right? A kid walks down a toy aisle or walks down a candy aisle, and what do? They want to grab at it. And it's the same way that a lot of us treat money, is it becomes this goal. It's like, I just want it. But we have to mature past that a little bit, because it would be like saying, I want the Mona Lisa. Okay, you want it, but what are you going to do with it if you do have it? Okay, what are you going to do with it? And that's how we need to be thinking about money, is like, okay, it's okay to have money. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with having money. Some of what we're going to be teaching is how to create money and how to create wealth, rather. But we need to first know, before we have it, we need to begin to understand what it is, and that it's this value, it's a tool, and we need to know how to use this tool. We don't just get money so we can tell people, hey, I have money. We want to have money so that we can do something with that money. Okay, so money is a tool. Okay, it is not a goal. Money is a tool. So I want to take a minute and I want to talk about being rich, because when we're talking about financial planning, we're never far from the discussion of people wanting to be rich. Now, I will say that there is certainly nothing wrong with being rich. Okay, I don't want to say that. I don't want to insinuate that. But I want to talk about that financial planning is not about becoming rich, and it's not about helping you to become rich. Let me give you a couple of examples here. So I know some people that are rich, meaning they have a lot of money, but they don't know how to create wealth, okay? They don't know how to create money. Maybe they just have a lot, maybe they were born into it, maybe they just had a business that just got very successful, and so they just have a lot, but they don't really know what to do with it anymore, okay? So, but I also know, on the flip side, I could say I know people that have less money, but they know how to create it and grow their wealth. So I guess, which would you rather be? Would you rather be rich, or would you rather know how to create wealth? Now that's an interesting question. I guess in the short run, I'd rather be rich, because then I'd have money. But in the long run, I would rather know how to create wealth, because then I can create the money that I want to function as, whatever, okay? So a lot of times people say, and the reason I want to bring this up is because a lot of times people say, I want to be rich, not because they want to have a lot of money, but really what they're saying, indirectly saying, I guess, or implicitly saying, is they want to somewhat be irresponsible with their spending habits, and they don't want to have to be responsible for learning how to create wealth. Because if I'm just rich, then I can just indiscriminately spend and I'll always have more. Okay? Well, again, nothing necessarily wrong with any of that, with indiscriminately spending money. I mean, I wouldn't say that's virtuous, right? But there's nothing wrong with indiscriminately spending money. But really what we want to learn how to do is not just be able to have a high burn rate. In other words, we're just spending money indiscriminately. We want to know how to create wealth, okay? We want to know how to build our financial system so that wealth creation is the outcome of it, okay? It's not just about having a bunch of money. It's about creating it so that it's doing things for us, okay? So I guess what I'm wanting to say here is I want us to have this understanding, or I want us to have this viewpoint, this perspective, is we're delving into financial planning, that it's not about trying to get you to be rich. I'm not going to teach you to be rich. That's not my objective here. The objective is to teach you how to use money as a tool, okay? As a tool, and how to put it in the right places so that it's doing for you what you need it to be doing for you. Now, a lot of times the outcome of allocating it properly is more money, okay, which you can become rich, but understand that rich is the byproduct of learning how to make good decisions and using money as a proper tool, okay? It's about using it as a proper tool. So think about this: if you've ever played like poker, okay, when you get dealt your hand, okay, sometimes you have a good hand, sometimes you have a bad hand. Well, a good poker player, can play a bad hand and still win, because it's not necessarily about the hand that you're dealt. It's about how you play the hand that you're dealt. Okay, let me just rephrase that, or let me just repeat that one time. It's not about the hand that you're dealt. It's about how you play the hand that you're dealt. And that matters because it doesn't matter where you are within the financial spectrum, whether you have a lot of money or whether you have a little money. And I put that in quotes because it's all relative anyway, okay? So whether you have a lot or whether you have a little is not what matters. It's what you do with your money. That's what matters, because money is a tool. It's this representation of value. So we need to employ that value in the right place to be able to have a right outcome. All right, so to kind of wrap up this little section on money, I just want to say this: having a lot of money is not a virtue. Just because you have a lot of money, or just because somebody has a lot of money, that is not a virtue. Having a little bit of money is not a virtue. Being poor is not a virtue. Okay, so having a lot is not a virtue. Being poor is not a virtue. Similarly, having a lot of money is not an indictment on somebody's character. Just because they have a lot of money doesn't mean they're a bad person. Similarly, if they have a little bit of money, it's not an indictment on their character. It doesn't mean that someone's a bad person or a lesser person because they don't have as much money. Okay? The amount of money that you have is not indicative of your character or a virtue. The virtue is knowing how to use your money and using it wisely. Whether you have a little or whether you have a lot or anywhere in between. The virtue is not how much you have. The virtue is found in knowing what to do with what you have. Okay, it's knowing how to play the game, knowing how to play the hand. Okay, so that's the first part of this, is money is a tool. If we're going to talk about financial planning, we have to understand money, or we have to have a perspective of money. And the perspective of money is that money is a representation of value. It is a tool. It needs placed in the right places to work properly. And we need to know that it's not about how much you have. It's about knowing what to do with what you have.